Sydney, scene one, take one.
My name is Sydney Dean. I'm a master's student in the School of Biological Sciences. I'm an American citizen who came over about a year ago, and I have a passion for reptiles, amphibians, and their conservation. I was very into theater and things like that, so the fact that I turned towards nature, science, things that were a little more labor intensive was very funny to my family. I had the choice to go to New Zealand or Ireland, and I chose to come to New Zealand to take my course. While I was here, it instilled a passion in conservation, sustainability, and how seriously that's taken by not only New Zealand government, but also the people who are invested in it in their daily lives. And I chose to come back to do my master's here for that reason. I really loved coming to New Zealand because I grew up in the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee, and that was very hard for me to leave. Leaving your family is one thing. You know that you're going to see them again. You can call them as soon as you land. Leaving the mountains was very different for me. It was one of the first times I was leaving long term. I would be very much out of my element, not only culturally, but just living in a place that felt very different. And when I arrived in New Zealand, I saw all of the mountains of New Zealand. And so it felt instantly familiar to me, comfortable. I knew that I was still protected and taken care of by Mother Earth. I really loved Wellington because it's a very inclusive community. It has a lot of events going on. It's very lively, but it's not too chaotic. It's a nice city to be in for your day-to-day life, and it sort of transitions a little bit on the weekend to a nice, relaxed, fun environment. And it's also surrounded by nature. So it's great because whenever the city does become a little too much, you're able to pop away into the forest. I chose the University of Wellington because as a master's student going into a project, it's very important to know that your research interests align very closely with your supervisors. When thinking about the University of Wellington in regards to other universities, I knew that by coming here, I was going to be given perhaps more opportunity to work with the Department of Conservation, regional councils, city councils. So I knew that I was going to have a great education as far as theory. I was going to be learning from really accredited professors, researchers who have been publishing a lot recently. That looks great in the science field, but that I would also be offered opportunities and support to do my own research successfully that would set me up with a network to continue on after graduation. I have never been to an institution that has so much support for students, not only in their academic lifestyles, but outside of university as well. So whether that's finding a job to support you while you're in study, or once it's time for you to move out of your study via graduation and into your official career, whatever that may be, as well as your well-being. If I could give my younger self advice, I would tell her to not be so afraid of taking a chance, taking a risk. Moving across the globe is not as difficult as it feels, it's not as challenging as it seems, and you're also not as far away as you think you are. So contacting home, very easy. Getting back home is easier than you think because you start to establish a little home wherever you go. You'll always find people to support you. And to dive in to the career that I thought that I wanted, to just go ahead and make that switch into conservation. I knew I wouldn't regret it.